Kanye West, the man, Kanye West, the only man to have ever existed. Kanye West, Kanye the man West. He doesn't need an introduction at this point. I'm not going to stand here and tell you who he is, why he's culturally significant, the impact he's had on music, the impact he's had on culture, fashion. He has truly been a massive impact, the word I've already used, for more than 10 years, changing the game in hip-hop, changing the landscape of pop music, and how pop and hip-hop blended together in a way that's just become like taboo now. He really has changed all things, released classic albums, and influenced many white kids across the world. He's had his fair share of controversy, he's had his fair share of outbursts. He even made us all realise that slavery doesn't exist. No, but in all seriousness, this is a very influential man, and recently he's been subjected to a lot of controversy. Once again with this album cycle, every time he does put out an album, he has to get in the limelight and say stupid shit just for the attention. And maybe this time around people have been more sensitive to it, as he has shown his support for, you know, right-wing politicians, let out some ideas that are a little bit right-wing leaning, a little bit Trump supporting going on too. He's had his outbursts and spoke on black issues in ways that a lot of people haven't been happy about. And I'd even go as far as saying people have been throwing their arms up in the air a little bit too much at some of the things he's been saying. It's not really surprising in this hypersensitive day and age on the internet and social media. You know, we all love to have something to complain about. Kanye West has obviously been coming out with some things I don't agree with, occasionally saying some things that have some weight to them too. I feel as though most people are like that, you know. You're not going to agree with everything someone says, but there's going to be some things that they say that you will agree with. And the thing is with Kanye though, is that he'll often start things off a little bit too rowdy, but then later on have a deeper meaning as to what he's saying, and then it's kind of like, yeah, but you said this, but now you're changing what you're saying, and it's like he lets his sort of anger and sort of passion get in the way of the true meaning as what he's saying. But it's not really hard to deny that when it comes to the music, you do get a bit more of an understanding as who the man Kanye West is, a bit more understanding to the emotions and the feelings and what exactly it is that he's thinking. And it's pretty clear that with this new album, we have got a little bit more of that understanding to what Kanye West is thinking and what's been going on with him, and we get those deeper emotions, those revelations as to what's been going on in the mind of his state and his mental health sort of stuff too. And once again, it's another 24-minute album, just like he did with Pusha T, a really short EP length of a record. At the moment, I'm not entirely sure how I feel about this new trend. I mean, you either get terrible like SoundCloud rappers dropping 20-minute albums because they just don't have enough material to fit anything on longer because they're not very good artists, or you're getting some really talented musicians like Kanye West and Pusha T dropping really short albums when, to be honest, I would much rather hear longer versions of what they've got going on, because that's kind of what I'm about when it comes to these more artistic musicians. But still, I mean, perhaps this is the only length that's needed for this album, right? I mean, perhaps 24 minutes is exactly what was necessary for Ye, the album Ye. 8th album in, maybe that was the right choice. Well, not really. No, not really. This has got to be the most underwhelming Kanye West album to date. I would go as far as saying this is the most underwhelming Kanye West album to date. And the reason I say that is because even though I've expressed my opinions on his previous albums before on this channel quite a few times, I've expressed that I don't particularly have a love for Yeezus or 808s and Heartbreak, to be honest, but they're at least interesting and compelling in ways that you don't often get listening to albums in the hip hop genre. I mean, with this album, I just don't think I'm getting it at all. Like, maybe that's the point. I mean, the album cover expresses the bipolar tendencies of Kanye West, and bipolar isn't something that you're supposed to understand fully, especially if you're someone that's never had to deal with that. So that makes sense in that way, but just overall, with the music, with what Kanye West is saying, with the sounds of some of these songs, I'm just not getting much of a feel of it at all. The opening track kicks things off with the concept, I guess, with the whole bipolar thoughts and feelings that he has. You know, he talks about how he wants to kill this person that he loves, and how he also wants to kill himself, and he loves himself way more than he loves this other person, but yet he still wants to kill himself. And it's like really revealing how like bipolar can affect someone. But I just wish this was fleshed out more across the whole album. I mean, as soon as his spoken word piece is over, he starts rapping and his flow is completely off. Like, I just don't have any enjoyment out of the way he sounds on this verse at all. And none of the lyrics seem to match up in any significant way. Like, I just don't get anything out of them that's supposed to be connected to this bipolar mindset. And to say how the album starts off with that could have been such like a gold mine of the album. Like, he really had so many ways he could have taken it, but I just don't think he does. He just kind of does the very Kanye thing that he's been doing on his past few albums, where he'll like have a nice topic, but then stretch things out and go off in these different directions, and it all ends up being scattershot. Yeah, I think this opening track really is quite underwhelming. I just don't really feel for it in ways that I think it could have. I like the love sort of angle in some of the lines, how he wants to spread love to his loved ones, and like, you know, other sort of things like that too. But yeah, generally it just leaves me unsatisfied. The track Yikes discusses addiction and intoxication, perhaps with alcohol and maybe other drugs misuse too. Again, another quite revealing track for Kanye West, and talking about how like he gets frightened and things just seem so scary, and he doesn't seem to quite understand what's going on. It's totally like a topic that I think could have been done well if it was handled a little bit better with the production. I just don't think it quite matches the sound of the song, especially with the chorus too. I think it sounds really commercial. I don't know whether he's trying to just normalize this kind of like lyricism and normalize this type of topic by giving it quite like a pristine sound and a quite a pop centric sound, excuse me. But I just didn't really enjoy it sonically at all, and yeah, it just didn't really leave me that happy with the way it sounds, honestly. I like the way he sort of talks about his fame as well, and how that can like drive you to drugs in the ways that we all kind of know about at this point. I mean, with artists in the past who have died due to drug addiction and that kind of stuff. It's a shame though the track ends off in a very Kanye way again, you know, kind of talking about how like bipolar is his like superpower. It's not his weakness, it's his superpower. And yeah, like to look at that from that angle and see it as more of like a positive thing is admirable, I must say. But the way he sort of like belts out like, yes, my superpower, like it takes the seriousness away from it, to be honest. I just don't feel like it was necessary. And that's what I mean when I say it's a very Kanye way to end things off, because it's just such a narcissistic end to a track that could have had more emotional weight. I may as well carry on going with my negatives, because tracks like Ghost Town and Violent Crimes have guest features from a singer called 070 Shake or 070 Shake. Don't know much about her. I don't want to really know much more about her, because I just don't enjoy her voice at all. It's such a real shame, because these tracks could have been so good if he got good singers singing. Like, there's a Kid Cudi refrain on the track Ghost Town, which sounds terrible. Like, I think it's at this point, after Speeding Bullet to Heaven, We know that Kid Cudi cannot sing, but Kanye West continues to collaborate with Kid Cudi as if like he sees something in Kid Cudi that no one else does. Okay, yeah, Kid Cudi has had mental health problems in the past too. Perhaps that's why bringing him on to sing makes sense for the theme of the album. But Kid Cudi vocally, I mean, I'm not going to pretend like I enjoy it, and I'm pretty sure not many people enjoy his voice at this point. Come on, come on. And the same with 070, I just don't think she has vocal chops at all. And the other issue about this track, Ghost Town specifically, is that her part is very emotionally powerful, like with the lyrics. I mean, I assume Kanye wrote this part, and Kanye put his all in this verse that she sings and the chorus as well. But like, why wouldn't you sing that yourself? Like, why not? I don't get why you wouldn't. You're gonna have this incredibly strong section with how you've been dealing with your emotions and how you're feeling, and you get someone else to sing it. I just feel like it loses its impact, doesn't it? Like it just does. Like you would sing it yourself. And the thing is that Kanye West in the past has done this. Like he'll put auto-tune on his voice, and it adds quite a harrowing like tone to what he's saying. Like on tracks like Runaway, like it really feels like you understand everything he's saying, and you can get into his mind with what he's saying with the auto-tune. And on the opening track, he manipulates his voice at times too, so I would just assume he would have done the same here, but instead he gets a random singer that no one really knows to sing it. It just, yeah, that's pretty disappointing. Imagine how good Ghost Town would have been if he just brought on great singers. So just imagine, it would have been a great track. You know, you could have brought on Frank Ocean, you could have brought on Daniel Caesar, you could have brought on Kali Uchis, oh Jesus Christ, even Georgia Smith. You know, some singers in the sort of R&B world would have killed it, man. They would have freaking killed it. But it just kind of got ruined. And Violent Crimes, like again, 070, singing just doesn't sound particularly that appealing to my ears, to be honest. And not only that, but she takes up such a chunk of the track. Like she's singing for like nearly 2 minutes before we hear Kanye. Like why was this necessary? Couldn't Kanye have just done this part? Well, nearly 2 minutes is an exaggeration, but it's well over a minute. And yeah, Kanye comes on in quite a somber type way. Doesn't really do much for me though at that point. I don't know. I just felt a little bit sour knowing that we didn't have him for the whole song, or a better singer at least singing too. The track does focus on his children in a pretty nice way, I suppose. There are nice lines that crop up here, but then it closes off with Nicki Minaj doing a spoken word thing. I just don't really know why she's there or why it's necessary. Perhaps I missed the meaning to that part, I do not know, but yeah, it just felt a little random and not really a way to finish off the album. Like, why this to finish it off? I do like tracks like Wouldn't Leave though. I think there is some nice singing on this one actually, for a change. Also, I love the lyrical arc about like how, you know, he knows like Kim, he's obviously talking about Kim here, wouldn't leave him. Even though despite all the things he does, and she always stands by him and all that kind of stuff. I think it's got a real nice sentiment to this track. I mean, you can tell that Kanye has some really major insecurities about himself, despite the fact that he comes off very egotistical. But at the same time, you know, behind closed doors, there's a lot of going on in his mind, you know, and how he acts and stuff may put off Kim, or even in their personal drama too. But yet he knows she'll still stand by him, and that's what keeps him going. I think the part where he references the slavery line is pretty interesting though, because he's like saying how here he says this, but you haven't even seen him on his wildest nights. You know, like there are times where he says things even crazier than what he said there. And that's pretty interesting to me, because I think that is such like a thing that people don't get when it comes to mental health. Like, you know, you don't even know how bad it can get, yeah, you know, and unless you actually know someone very closely that has some kind of mental health problem, and believe me, it can be really, like, really emotionally draining as someone who has that experience with that, with people that I know with, like, mental health problems. Like, it's unbelievable when you see people on their worst nights, and yeah, I think that was such a like a revealing moment for Kanye there. Doesn't necessarily make you want to forgive him for what he said, but it puts into perspective of how dangerous your thoughts can get when you're having tragic like relapses in your mental health problems, you know? And No Mistakes is a fantastic song. I mean, listen to that hook from Charlie Wilson. Boy, that man can sing. He's collaborated with Kanye West in the past, as we know. He's an amazing vocalist. That chorus is fantastic. It's euphoric. Oh my lord, it's so just emotionally impactful. Like the ways that I feel like this album missed so many times, but this one track really gets it. And there's a great Slick Rick sample in the background too. Everything just feels like classic Kanye on this one. It's like going back to his jazzier, soulful roots. He always did so well back on like Late Registration, College Dropout, and it was just like a nice little reminder of that time. I'd say it's the best song in the album because it's one of the only tracks to me that has the best matching production with the matching lyricism. That's quality there as well. Again, I still think the Wouldn't Leave is also a great track. And I guess that leaves the track All Mine, which is a track that I haven't mentioned yet and I feel very torn on because of the chorus, the Ty Dolla $ign chorus. Never been a big fan of Ty Dolla $ign, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, some of the lyrics on this one just don't get me. No, I'm just not with it. Yeah, you supermodel thick. Damn, that ass busting out the bottom. Yeah, I'll lose my mind on it. Whatever it is, it's just so stupid, man. I mean, like, come on. Then we go on to talking about Pussy. I mean, I guess he's gotta show love for everything on this album. You know, show love for how his wife won't leave him, and also show love for how she's got the best pussy ever. So it makes sense. But yeah, it just really could have been done better. And the production on the second verse is insane. I fucking love the way like it jars in and Kanye West sounds over the production. If that was the whole song, that would have been amazing. I'd have loved it. It was very Yeezus inspired, but done in a controlled way and in a way that I can appreciate quite a bit. Yeah, I just love that second verse, but it's a shame the chorus really drags it down, but the beat and the production I really like, and I could imagine this one doing quite well in a commercial sense, but we'll have to see. So yeah, you can probably tell I'm pretty mixed on this album. I mean, I just don't really know what to say at this point. It's 7 tracks, 2 of them I think are stellar. The rest I would say is kind of throwaway. I mean, some really missteps in terms of guest features and production choices and lyricism that isn't always that interesting to listen to. But not that it's not that interesting, it's that it could have been approached in a really well crafted way. He could have took this topic in ways that you would never think of in a rap album, or even in an album in general, actually. But I just think it ends up being quite a Kanye West album in the way that The Life of Pablo was. It was messy, didn't really have the best focus, some great ideas across it, but generally not that satisfying. And to say that this is way shorter, you would think that he would have kind of tied it all up in a better way, but it's just another kind of messy album, I think. You know, it's been a pretty bumpy ride with Kanye West over the past few months. You've not really understood where he's going with his whole MAGA hat thing and his whole, you know, antics. Is it all just to sell an album? Is it all true? Is he gonna, you know, expand on his thoughts in his music? And I think the outcome is kind of lackluster, actually. I don't think much of what's going on here is that compelling. Perhaps the emotions and feelings that he's feeling was good to include on the album. I appreciated that. Just really needed to be expanded more to fill up this concept or this idea that we want to find out more about Kanye West's personal life and his emotions and the bipolar. So yeah, I'm going D+ with this one. I think it's a pretty average album. 2 songs I'll definitely return to, but yeah, no, I'm not feeling it, honestly. Let me know your thoughts, though. I know this one's going to bring up a lot of discussion because it's Kanye West, of course. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you disagree heavily or you actually agree. And subscribe to the channel if you want to. and have a good day.